Captain Jake Morrison stared at the strange ship floating in space. It was huge, maybe 3 times bigger than his own ship, the Liberty. The metal was dark blue with patterns that seemed to move when he looked at them. No human had ever seen anything like it. "Sir, the ship is not moving," said Commander Ryan Brooks from his seat next to Jake. "No power readings at all. It looks dead." Jake pressed a button on his chair. "Dr. Parker, get up here. You need to see this." Dr. Lisa Parker came running to the bridge. She was the best scientist on the ship, and Jake trusted her more than anyone. When she saw the alien ship, her mouth opened wide. "My God," she whispered. "It's real. We found them." The Liberty had left Earth 6 months ago. It was humanity's first trip to another star system. The government had built the ship in secret, using a new engine that could travel faster than light. Only a few hundred people on Earth knew about the mission. Jake had been chosen to lead because he was calm under pressure. He had served in the Earth Navy for 20 years. But nothing had prepared him for this moment. "Can we get inside?" Jake asked. Lisa checked her computer. "The ship has air. Temperature is good for humans, but I don't know if it's safe." "We have to try," Jake said. "This is why we came out here." Ryan looked worried. "Sir, what if it's a trap? What if there are aliens inside waiting for us?" Jake thought for a moment. "Then we'll deal with it. Get the team ready." 2 hours later, Jake, Lisa, and 4 other crew members floated through space toward the alien ship. They wore heavy space suits and carried weapons just in case. The alien ship had a hole in its side that looked like a door. Inside, the ship was dark and cold. Their lights showed walls covered in strange symbols. The floor felt soft under their boots, like it was made of some kind of living material. "This way," Lisa said, checking her scanner. "There's a big room ahead." They walked through long hallways. Everything was too big for humans. The doorways were 12 feet tall. The aliens who built this ship must have been giants. They found the main room at the center of the ship. It was filled with computers, but not like any human technology. The screen showed symbols that moved and changed color. Some of the machines were still working. "Look at this," Lisa said. She was standing next to a large screen. "I think this is their main computer." Jake watched as she connected her tablet to the alien machine. "Be careful. We don't know what might happen." "Got it," Lisa said after a few minutes. "I'm downloading their files. Wait, there's something here about Earth." The screen suddenly lit up bright red. An alarm started making noise, but it didn't sound like any alarm they knew. It was more like singing, but scary. "We need to go," Ryan said. "Now." But Lisa was still working. "Just a few more seconds. I'm getting data about something called the Galactic Council." The alien ship started to shake. Lights began flashing all over the main room. "Lisa!" Jake shouted. She grabbed her tablet and ran toward the door. "I got it. Let's go." They raced back through the hallways. Behind them, the alien ship was making more noise. It sounded like it was waking up after a long sleep. Back on the Liberty, Jake called his crew together. Lisa connected her tablet to the ship's main computer. What they saw made everyone quiet. The alien files showed pictures of Earth. Pictures of human cities. Pictures of human ships. The aliens had been watching them for a long time. "According to this," Lisa said, "we're listed as a Category 7 emerging threat by something called the Galactic Council." "Threat?" Ryan asked. "We haven't done anything to anyone," Lisa kept reading. "It says here that humans are too aggressive, too violent. They've been waiting for us to develop space travel." Jake felt cold inside. Waiting for what? To decide what to do with us. The ship's alarm suddenly went off. On the main screen, they could see ships appearing around them. 5 of them, sleek and silver, much more advanced than anything humans had built. "Sir," said Lieutenant Ben Clark from the pilot's seat, "they're surrounding us. We can't run." Jake sat down in his captain's chair. This was not how he had imagined first contact would happen. He had dreamed of meeting peaceful aliens who would welcome humanity to the stars. Instead, they had walked into some kind of test, and it seemed like humanity had already failed. "Open a channel," Jake said. The main screen changed. Now it showed the bridge of one of the alien ships. The creature looking back at them was tall and thin, with skin like blue crystal. Its eyes were large and silver. "Human vessel," the alien said, in perfect English. "I am Arbiter Zethrak of the Galactic Council. You will follow us. Do not attempt to resist or flee. Your species has much to answer for." Jake stood up. "I'm Captain Morrison of the Earthship Liberty. We come in peace. We didn't know anyone else was out here." The alien's expression didn't change. "Peace is not a concept your species understands. Well, Captain Morrison, we have been watching. We have seen your wars, your weapons, your destruction of your own planet. The Council will decide if humanity deserves to join galactic civilization, or if you must be contained." The screen went dark. Jake looked around at his crew. They were all staring at him, waiting for orders. But what could he do? They were outnumbered and outgunned, millions of miles from Earth. "Follow them," he said quietly. "And send a message to Earth. Tell them what we found out here. Tell them the aliens already know about us, and they're not happy." As the Liberty followed the alien ships deeper into space, Jake wondered if he had just led humanity into its first interstellar war. The Council Station was the biggest thing Jake had ever seen. It was like a metal city floating in space with towers that stretched for miles. Thousands of ships from different worlds moved around it like busy insects. Jake, Lisa, and Ryan stood in a small shuttle heading toward the station. Through the window, they could see aliens of all shapes and sizes. Some looked like giant bugs. Others were made of what seemed like living rock. A few looked almost human, but with strange skin colors and too many arms. "Remember," Jake told his team, "we represent all of humanity. Whatever happens, stay calm." Ambassador Kate Williams sat across from them. She had been sent from Earth just for this meeting. She was smart and tough, but Jake could see she was nervous too. "I've read the files Dr. Parker found," Kate said. "The Council has been watching us for 300 years. They know everything about us, every war, every mistake." The shuttle landed in a huge bay inside the station. Alien guards escorted them through corridors that seemed to go on forever. The walls showed pictures of hundreds of different worlds and species. They entered a massive round room with seats arranged in circles. Thousands of aliens sat looking down at them. At the center was a raised platform where the human delegation would stand. Arbiter Zethrak stood up from a special chair. His crystal skin caught the light and threw rainbow colors across the room. "Members of the Galactic Council," he announced. "Today we meet to decide the fate of the species called humans. They have achieved faster than light travel in only 200 years. This speed of development is unprecedented and concerning." Jake watched as different aliens stood to speak. Each one seemed to have something bad to say about humanity. A creature that looked like a giant mantis clicked its mandibles. "These humans have fought over 400 wars in their recorded history. They create weapons designed only to kill other humans." A being made of flowing liquid spoke next. "They have poisoned their own planet's air and water. They destroy forests and drive other species to extinction." Kate stepped forward. "With respect, honored council members, you're only looking at our mistakes. Humanity has also created art, music, and literature. We've cured diseases and explored space. We've learned from our errors." The room became very quiet. Several aliens made sounds that might have been anger or shock. Zethrak's silver eyes focused on Kate. "You dare to interrupt council proceedings? You question our judgment of your species?" Kate lifted her chin higher. "Yes, I do. You've been watching us like lab rats for 3 centuries. Why didn't you help us? Why didn't you teach us better ways? You just sat back and judged us." Jake felt his heart racing. This wasn't going well at all. A new alien stood up. It was huge, covered in black armor with multiple arms and glowing red eyes. "I am Security Chief Mordoon of the Hive Collective. I have reviewed the human military records. These creatures are too dangerous to be allowed freedom among the stars." Mordoon activated a holographic display. It showed human battles, nuclear explosions, and cities in ruins. "Observe their weapons," he continued. They have created bombs that can destroy entire cities. They have made biological weapons designed to cause suffering. In their most recent global conflict, they killed over 50 million of their own kind. That was 70 years ago, Ryan said angrily. We've learned since then. Have you? Mordon replied. Your species still maintains thousands of nuclear weapons. You still fight wars over resources and territory. You still cannot agree on how to govern your own world. More aliens spoke, each one adding to the list of humanity's failures. Jake realized they had no friends here. The entire galaxy seemed to see humans as monsters. Finally, Zethrak called for quiet. The evidence is clear. Humanity represents a clear and present danger to galactic peace. I call for a vote on Emergency Protocol 7. What's Protocol 7? Kate asked. Total quarantine of your species, Zethrak replied. Your star system will be sealed off from the rest of the galaxy. No human ship will be allowed to leave. No outside contact will be permitted. Jake stood up. You can't do this. We have rights. Rights? Laughed Mordon. Rights are earned through civilized behavior. Your species has proven it cannot be trusted with advanced technology. The vote began. Alien delegates pressed buttons on their seats. Numbers appeared on screens around the room. Jake watched in horror as the count grew higher and higher. 47 votes in favor, Zethrak announced. 23 votes against. Emergency Protocol 7 is approved. Kate's face went pale. For how long? Until your species proves it can behave peacefully, Zethrak said. Perhaps in a few thousand years we will review your case again. The meeting was over. Guards surrounded the human delegation and escorted them back to their shuttle. As they flew away from the station, Jake stared out at the stars and felt sick. Send a message to Earth immediately, he told Ryan. Emergency priority. Tell President Turner what happened here. Back on Earth, President Alex Turner sat in the Situation Room reading the message from the Liberty. Around the table sat the world's top military and scientific leaders. They're going to prison us, Turner said. The entire human race locked in our own solar system. General Sam Hayes, head of the newly formed Space Defense Command, slammed his fist on the table. We won't accept this. We have ships. We have weapons. Against the entire galaxy? Asked Dr. Lisa Parker, who had stayed on Earth to analyze the alien data. They have thousands of species, millions of ships. We have 12 vessels and no idea how their technology works. Then we better learn fast, Hayes replied. On her computer, Lisa pulled up the files from the alien ship. I've been studying their technology. Their barrier system works by creating an energy field around our entire solar system, but it has to be powered by generator stations. How many stations? Turner asked. 3. 1 near Jupiter, 1 past Neptune, and 1 in the asteroid belt. If we could somehow disable all 3 at the same time, the barrier would fall, Hayes finished. How long do we have? Lisa checked her calculations. According to the files, it takes them about 6 months to build the generators. They're probably already starting. Turner looked around the room. Then we have 6 months to prepare for war against the galaxy. Ben Clark, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. Sir, I've been working on the captured alien scout ship we brought back. I think I can figure out how their weapons work. Maybe even improve them. Do it, Turner ordered. General Hayes, start building more ships. Use everything we've learned from the aliens. Dr. Parker, keep studying their technology. Find weaknesses. And if we can't break the barrier? Ask the Secretary of Defense. Turner stood up and walked to the window. Outside, he could see the lights of Washington, D.C. Somewhere up in those stars, an alien fleet was preparing to lock humanity away forever. Then we make them regret it, he said. We show them what happens when you cage humans. We might not win, but we'll make sure they remember us. In space, the first Council construction ships were already at work building the barrier generators. Humanity had 6 months of freedom left, but they weren't planning to go quietly into their cage. 6 months had passed since the Council's decision. Earth looked different now. Every shipyard was working day and night. New weapons factories covered the landscape. The entire planet had become a military base preparing for war. Colonel Maria Santos stood on the bridge of the Defiance, humanity's newest and most powerful warship. Through the front window she could see the energy barrier that trapped them. It glowed like a wall of blue fire stretching across space. "General Hayes, this is Santos," she said into her radio. "All ships are ready for Operation Breakout." "Copy that, Colonel," came Hayes's voice from Earth Command. "Remember, you have to hit all 3 generators at exactly the same time. If even one stays active, the barrier will hold." Maria looked at her crew. They all knew this might be a one-way mission. The Council had built massive defense stations around each generator. Getting close enough to destroy them would cost lives. "Ben, how are our new weapons?" she asked. Engineer Ben Clark checked his screens. "The alien plasma cannons are working perfectly. We've also got the nuclear torpedoes ready. If we can get close enough, we can do some real damage." Dr. Lisa Parker's voice came over the radio from the research ship Pioneer. "Maria, I'm sending you the generator weak points now. Hit these exact spots and the whole structure should collapse." Maria studied the data on her screen. Each generator was the size of a small city, protected by energy shields and hundreds of alien weapons. The Council had not expected humans to fight back, but they had still built strong defenses. "All ships, this is General Hayes," the radio crackled. "Today we show the galaxy what happens when you try to cage humanity. Make them pay for every meter of space. Good luck." The human fleet moved forward. 50 ships of different sizes, all armed with weapons built from stolen alien technology. It wasn't much compared to the thousands of ships the Council commanded, but it was everything humanity had. The first battle began at Generator Alpha, near Jupiter. Captain Jake Morrison led a squadron of fighter ships against the station's defenses. The alien weapons lit up space with deadly beams of energy. "This is Morrison," Jake's voice came over the radio. "They're throwing everything at us. I'm losing ships fast." Maria watched her screens as red dots disappeared one by one. Each dot was a ship with 20 human crew members, good people who would never see Earth again. "Hold the line, Jake," she said. "We're almost in position." The Defiance shook as alien plasma bolts hit its armor. Maria's crew fired back with everything they had. The new human weapons were powerful, but the alien shields were strong. "Direct hit on their shield generator," Ben reported. "But it's not enough. We need to get closer." "Then we get closer," Maria said. She pressed a button that connected her to the entire fleet. "All ships, this is Santos. We're going in hard, ramming speed." The human ships accelerated toward the generator station. This was not how civilized species fought wars. No alien would sacrifice their ship just to damage an enemy. But humans were different. The first ship to ram the station was the destroyer Freedom. Captain Mike Taylor drove his ship straight into the alien shield generator. The explosion lit up space like a new star. "Shield is down," Ben shouted. "We can hit the main structure now." Maria aimed the Defiance's biggest weapon at the generator's core. "Fire everything!" Nuclear torpedoes and plasma cannons struck the alien station. Huge sections broke away and spun into space. The generator was dying. At the same time, similar battles raged at the other 2 generators. Near Neptune, the cruiser, Liberty led by Commander Ryan Brooks, crashed into Generator Beta. The ship's nuclear reactor exploded, taking half the alien station with it. Dr. Parker's team at Generator Gamma used a different approach. They had managed to hack into the station's computers using alien technology they had stolen. The generator turned its own weapons on itself. "All generators are down," Lisa's voice came over the radio. "The barrier is collapsing." Maria watched as the blue energy wall that had trapped humanity began to fade. For the first time in 6 months, the stars were open again, but their celebration was short. New contacts appeared on the radar, hundreds of them. The Council's main battle fleet was arriving. "My God," Ben whispered. "Look at the size of those ships." The flagship was bigger than anything humans had ever built. It was like a floating mountain covered in weapons. Smaller ships surrounded it like a metal cloud. Admiral Supreme Krelthane's voice came over all radio frequencies. "Human ships, you have committed an act of war against the Galactic Council. Surrender now or be destroyed." Maria looked at what remained of her fleet. 20 ships, most of them damaged. Against them came a force that could destroy planets. "This is Colonel Santos," she replied. "We don't surrender, we break things." The second battle began immediately. Council ships filled space with energy weapons and missiles. Human ships exploded one after another, but they kept fighting, using tactics no alien had ever seen. Captain Morrison flew his damaged fighter straight into a Council battleship's engine. The explosion crippled the much larger vessel. Other human pilots followed his example, turning their ships into guided missiles. "They're insane," Ben heard an alien voice say over the radio. "They're using their own ships as weapons." That's when Ben realized something important. He had been working on the alien communication system for months. Now he was connected to their entire network. "Maria," he said excitedly, "I can access their communications, all of them, every ship in their fleet. Can you disrupt it?" "Better than that. I can turn it against them. Give me 2 minutes." Maria tried to buy him time, but the human fleet was being destroyed. Only 5 ships were left fighting. "Got it," Ben announced. "I'm uploading a virus into their network. It will turn their own weapon systems against each other." Suddenly, Council ships began firing on their own allies. Their communication network, which had been their strength, became their weakness. Chaos spread through their fleet as ships tried to figure out which targets were real and which were false. The great Admiral Krelthane found his own flagship being attacked by his escort vessels. His perfect military formation became a confused mess of friendly fire. "Impossible," he said to his bridge crew. "How are they doing this?" His science officer, a nervous creature with too many eyes, checked the computers. "Sir, they've somehow hacked our entire network. They're using our own systems against us." In the confusion, the remaining human ships managed to escape. They jumped away from the battle before the Council could fix their communications. Back on Earth, President Turner watched the reports coming in. Operation Breakout had succeeded, but at a terrible cost. Most of the human fleet was gone. Hundreds of good people had died. But they had proven something important. The great Galactic Council could be beaten, their technology could be stolen, and turned against them. Their perfect order could be broken by human chaos. "General Hayes," Turner said, "start building more ships. Use everything we learned from this battle, and get me a list of every species the Council has been oppressing. I think it's time to make some new friends." In space, the barrier generators floated as broken metal. For the first time in 6 months, human ships could travel to the stars. The cage was broken. Now the real war would begin. Earth was under attack. Council ships filled the space around the planet like angry wasps. Their weapons turned the night sky bright with explosions, but President Turner had one last card to play. "Send the message on all frequencies," he told General Hayes. "Make sure every alien in the galaxy hears this." Turner stood in front of the cameras in the White House bunker. Behind him, screens showed the battle raging in space. His face was calm, but his words would shock the galaxy. "This is President Turner of Earth," he began. "To the Galactic Council and all who can hear this message. You want to destroy humanity? Fine. But if Earth falls, we'll make sure you can never use this star system again." He held up a small device with a red button. "Hidden throughout our solar system are nuclear bombs, big ones. If you kill us, they will explode automatically. The radiation will poison this entire region of space for thousands of years. Your precious trade routes will be worthless. Your expansion into this sector will be impossible." The transmission ended. In space, the Council ship stopped firing. Admiral Krelthane stared at his screen in disbelief. Are they serious? They would poison their own system? His science officer's tentacles trembled with fear. "Sir, our scans confirm multiple nuclear devices placed near major space lanes. If they detonate, the radiation will make this area uninhabitable for millennia. No species has ever threatened mutual destruction on this scale," Krelthane said. "They're willing to destroy everything rather than surrender." Meanwhile, Colonel Maria Santos led the remaining human ships in hit-and-run attacks against Council supply lines. Her strategy was simple but brutal. strike fast, cause maximum damage, and disappear before the enemy could respond. Target their fuel ships, she told her pilots. Without fuel, their big ships are just floating targets. Captain Jake Morrison, now commanding the rebuilt fighter squadron, led an attack on a Council supply convoy. His ships appeared out of nowhere, destroyed 3 tankers, and vanished before the escorts could react. "This is impossible," the convoy commander reported to his superiors. "They attack like pirates with no concern for military honor or proper tactics." That was exactly the point. Humans didn't fight like civilized aliens. They used sneak attacks, suicide runs, and dirty tricks. Council commanders trained in formal military doctrine couldn't predict what humans would do next. Dr. Lisa Parker worked day and night in her laboratory on the research ship Pioneer. She had been studying the alien communication network that Ben Clark had hacked during the barrier attack. "I found something," she told Ben over the video link. "The Council isn't what we thought it was." "What do you mean?" Lisa pulled up files on her computer. "They claim to be a democratic alliance, but look at this data. There are thousands of species in the Council, but only a few dozen actually make decisions. The rest are basically slaves." Ben studied the information. "These slave species aren't allowed to develop past a certain technology level. They're kept weak on purpose. And get this," Lisa continued, "some of these oppressed species tried to rebel before. They were crushed by the same military forces now attacking us." This information was too important to keep secret. Ben and Lisa began broadcasting it across the alien communication network. Soon the truth about Council oppression was spreading to every corner of the galaxy. On the Council flagship, Arbiter Zethrak received reports of unrest among the member species. His crystal skin had lost its shine. He looked older, tired. "The younger species are questioning our authority," his aide reported. "They're asking why they've never been told about previous rebellions." Zethrak had been a loyal Council member for 800 years, but the human data had shown him files he had never seen before. Files about his own species' early history. Long ago, the Veltar had been quarantined just like humanity. They had been called aggressive and dangerous by the ancient rulers. Only after centuries of submission had they been allowed to join the Council. "Sir?" his aide asked. "What are your orders?" Zethrak stared at the battle reports. Human ships were still fighting, even though they were outnumbered 1,000 to 1. They refused to give up, no matter how hopeless things looked. "Contact the human ship Pioneer," he said quietly. "I want to speak with Dr. Parker." Meanwhile, General Hayes received the worst news yet. Council spies had discovered the location of the stellar weapon platform hidden beyond Pluto. It was a massive device that could turn Earth's sun into a supernova, destroying the entire solar system. "How long until they can fire it?" Turner asked. 6 hours, maybe less, Hayes replied. "We don't have enough ships to stop them." "Then we use everything we have," Turner said. "Send every human vessel, military or civilian. Send the space stations, the mining ships, everything that can fly." Maria Santos received the order while her ship was being repaired. Half her crew was wounded, and the Defiance was barely holding together. But when she heard about the stellar weapon, she knew they had to try. "All ships, this is Santos," she broadcast to the ragged human fleet. "We have one mission left. Stop that weapon, or watch our world die. I know we're tired, I know we're hurt, but this is for Earth. This is for humanity's future among the stars." The response came from dozens of ships, even the damaged ones. "We're with you, Colonel." Jake Morrison prepared his fighters for what would probably be their last mission. As he checked his weapons, he thought about his family back on Earth. His wife and daughter would never know if he succeeded or failed. They would either live free or die in nuclear fire. "Jake," came Maria's voice over the radio. "I'm getting a message from that alien, Zethrak. He says he wants to help us. It's probably a trap. Maybe. But right now, we need all the help we can get." The final battle was about to begin. Somewhere beyond Pluto, a weapon capable of destroying entire star systems was preparing to fire. Against it flew the last ships of humanity, carrying with them the hopes of not just their own species, but of every oppressed race in the galaxy. As they approached the weapon platform, Jake's radar showed something impossible. Alien ships were joining them, ships from species that had been enslaved by the Council for thousands of years. "This is Commander Velnox of the Keth Republic," came a new voice over the radio. "We have been waiting centuries for someone to stand up to the ancient ones. Today we fight for freedom." The revolution had begun. The stellar weapon platform was bigger than any space station humans had ever built. It floated in the dark beyond Pluto like a metal moon, its massive barrel pointed directly at Earth's sun. Energy was already building in its core. Colonel Maria Santos looked at her scanner in amazement. What had started as a desperate human attack had become something else entirely. Ships from dozens of alien species surrounded the weapon platform, all flying toward the same target. "I count over 300 rebel ships," reported Ben Clark from his position at the Defiance's sensor station. "They're coming from all over the galaxy." The rebellion had spread faster than anyone expected. Dr. Lisa Parker's data about Council oppression had reached species that had been enslaved for thousands of years. Now they were finally fighting back. "This is Arbiter Zethrak," came a familiar voice over the radio. "Human vessels, I am transmitting the weapon platform's weak points to you now. My people were once where you are today. It is time we remembered what freedom means." Jake Morrison studied the new data from his fighter's computer. "Maria, if we hit these 3 power cores at the same time, the whole thing should explode." "Copy that, Jake. Take your squadron and hit the first core. I'll handle the second one with the Defiance." "What about the third core?" Ben asked. A new voice answered. "This is Commander Velnox of the Keth Republic. My ships will handle the third target. It will be an honor to fight beside humans." The battle began immediately. The platform's defenses came online, filling space with energy beams and missiles. But this time the attackers weren't just humans using crazy tactics. They were an alliance of species working together. The Keth ships moved like dancers, dodging, weapons fire with impossible grace. The Veltar used their crystal technology to create shields that protected smaller vessels. Even some former Council species had joined the fight, bringing their advanced weapons to bear against their former masters. Jake led his fighters through a storm of plasma bolts. 3 of his pilots were shot down before they reached the first power core, but the survivors pressed on. This was bigger than just saving Earth now. This was about freeing the entire galaxy. "First core is in sight," Jake reported. Beginning attack run. His remaining fighters dove toward the massive structure. The power core was protected by its own shields and weapons. But Jake had learned something from months of fighting aliens. Sometimes the direct approach worked best. "All fighters ramming speed," he ordered. "Sir?" asked his wingman, Lieutenant Tom Davis. "You heard me. We're going through that shield the hard way." One by one, the human fighters crashed into the shield, generator protecting the power core. Each impact weakened the barrier until finally it collapsed. Jake's last torpedo struck the core dead center. "First core destroyed," he reported as his damaged fighter limped away from the explosion. Maria was having her own problems at the second core. Council reinforcements had arrived, and the Defiance was taking heavy damage. But she remembered something President Turner had said. Humans don't give up. "Ben, transfer all power from life support to weapons. We're ending this now." "Ma'am, without life support, we only have about 10 minutes of air. Then we better work fast." The Defiance accelerated toward the second power core, its weapons blazing. Council ships tried to stop them, but the Rebel Alliance was keeping them busy. Maria's ship punched through the defensive fire and struck the core with everything it had. "Second core is gone," she reported, gasping for breath in the thin air. The third attack was led by the alien rebels themselves. Commander Velnox had waited 800 years for this moment. His people had been enslaved since before humans had developed writing. Now they had their chance for revenge. "For all the generations who died in chains," he said as his ships charged the final core. "For all the worlds that were never allowed to be free." The Keth ships swarmed over the third power core like angry bees. Their weapons, designed for precise mining work, cut through the alien armor like it was paper. The core exploded in a ball of fire that lit up half the solar system. With all 3 power cores destroyed, the stellar weapon began to collapse. Internal explosions rippled through its structure as safety systems failed one by one. But the real shock came from inside the weapon platform itself. Hidden at its center was something no one expected: the home base of the Eternal Conclave, the ancient energy beings who had ruled the galaxy for 50,000 years. Dr. Parker detected them, first on her scanners. "Maria, there's something else in there. Energy readings like nothing I've ever seen." The platform split open like a flower, revealing a sphere of pure light at its core. From within came a voice that seemed to speak directly into everyone's mind. "Who dares attack the Eternal Conclave?" the voice demanded. "We have ruled this galaxy since before your species existed. We have brought order to chaos, peace to war." President Turner's response came from Earth, broadcast to every ship in the battle. "This is Earth calling the Eternal Conclave. We don't care how old you are or how long you've been in charge. Nobody has the right to enslave entire species. Nobody has the right to decide who gets to be free." "Freedom is chaos," the voice replied. "Freedom leads to war, suffering, destruction. We have prevented galactic war for millennia." "By preventing galactic life," Turner shot back, "you've turned a galaxy full of diverse species into a prison. Well, the prisoners are escaping. More. Rebel ships were arriving every hour. Word of the battle had spread across the galaxy, and oppressed species were rising up everywhere. The careful order the Conclave had maintained for 50,000 years was crumbling. Commander Velnox aimed his ship's main weapon at the energy sphere. "Your time is over, Ancient Ones. This galaxy belongs to the living, not to museum keepers." "Wait," came Zethrak's voice. "There is another way." The crystal alien ship moved between the rebels and the Conclave. "Eternal Ones, you have ruled through fear for too long, but destruction is not the answer either. The humans have shown us a different path." "What do you propose?" the Conclave asked. Zethrak looked toward the human ships. "Negotiation. A new government based on freedom and equality. The humans call it democracy." What followed was the strangest peace conference in galactic history. Ships from hundreds of species surrounded the ancient conclave while their leaders argued over video links. Some wanted revenge, others wanted justice. The humans wanted something simpler. Ambassador Kate Williams spoke for Earth. "We don't want to rule anybody. We just want the right to choose our own path among the stars. Every species should have that right." It took 3 days of talking, but finally the Eternal Conclave agreed. They were tired after 50,000 years of ruling, and the rebellion had shown them that their control was ending anyway. The new Galactic Alliance was born in the ruins of the stellar weapon platform. Instead of a few ancient rulers making decisions for everyone, representatives from all species would have equal votes. No more slave worlds, no more forced quarantines, no more Category 7 threat classifications. Colonel Santos became Admiral. Santos commanding the first mixed human-alien exploration fleet. Her mission was to find new worlds for species that wanted to leave the old systems behind. Dr. Parker established the Galactic Science Exchange, where species could share knowledge freely instead of having technology rationed by ancient rulers. Jake Morrison retired from fighting and became a pilot for the new civilian transport service, carrying passengers and cargo between worlds that had never been allowed to trade before. President Turner gave one final speech to the galaxy. 6 months ago you tried to put humanity in a cage. You thought we were too dangerous, too chaotic, too unpredictable. You were right. We are dangerous to tyrants. We are chaotic to oppressive order. We are unpredictable to those who think they can control others. But we are also hope to the hopeless, freedom to the enslaved, and opportunity to those who dream of something better. Earth's sky was full of ships now. Not warships, but traders, explorers, tourists, and immigrants. Humans were spreading to the stars, and they were bringing their crazy ideas about individual rights and self-determination with them. Some aliens thought humans were still dangerous. They were probably right. But now it was the good kind of dangerous. Dangerous to dictators, dangerous to oppression, dangerous to anyone who thought some people deserved freedom more than others. The galaxy would never be the same. And that was exactly what humanity had intended. Dr. Parker wrote in her final log entry, "We came to the stars looking for new worlds to explore. Instead, we found an entire galaxy that needed to remember how to be free. Sometimes the most dangerous thing you can do is give people hope. Sometimes that's also the most important thing." Human ships now carried that hope to every corner of the galaxy, and there was no force in the universe that could stop it.